Monica Henderson, and I have with me today Brad. Brad is one of my new besties. We've been hanging out a lot more lately.
Yep.
So Brad, it does one of my favorite things, and that's help people find cash in their calendar. And so we're here today to have a little bit of a chat. Brad, how are you doing today?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me, Monica.
No problem. No problem. Okay, so questions, comments, rude remarks. The question that I have for all of you who could possibly be watching, don't forget to drop your comments, questions, comments, or rude remarks in the chat. But we are going to be talking about leadership and problematic leadership to be exact. And my question for you, Brad, is have you ever been underneath um, a problematic leader?
Have I ever been under a problematic leader? I think you've got a camera watching my probably several of my years working with my university. Yeah, I've been with several problematic leaders where the challenge comes in that one particular was he was a great colleague, but he was a terrible leader.
Mm,
In that I had to set up my 30-day review, I had to set up my 60-day review, my 90-day review, and that we would have, we would meet one on one, but he never put together a plan for any kind of career ladder, for any kind of promotions. It's a large reason on why I have pushed away from the university and now building my own thing with now a calendar to cash, because he did not really invest in me, and he was unwilling to really give me feedback until I pushed for promotion, until I pushed for something else. Then it was like, oh, let me show you the ammunition I've got. And I'm like, that's not helpful, because I don't know what your goals are. I don't know where you're wanting to get to.
yeah.
And it was a clear disconnect from his expectations and what I could bring in. And what the challenge really was he wasn't clear about what he wanted, and he kind of inherited me, and everyone around me, the people we served, I had already worked under and I had already established a relationship with. So he couldn't exactly get rid of me, but he also didn't know
What to do with you?
what to do. And the biggest one, Monica, that threw me was back when I first approached him for a promotion. This was been in September 22. I had asked him. I said, "What's our vision? Where are we going?" And moving forward with the business, and as an office, we'd only been as an established analytics office for about 9 months at that point. And he's like, I don't really know, and I don't really know what I wanted, where you're going to be going with. And then he made the point of, and if you don't believe me, go talk to my boss. The minute he said that, I lost really all respect for him, because I was like, am I answering to you or am I answering to the chief of staff?
Mm,
Because if I'm answering to the chief of staff, then I'm going to start working my way into the chief of staff and go, tell me what you want. And so, like, this became more and more of a pattern where it was, I couldn't get clear what he wanted. I couldn't help him look good for his boss. And so I would go around to his boss time and time again after 4 different reorg structures, and they kept coming back and being like, what is going on? Why is this person talking with me? What are you doing?
mm,
He ended up getting demoted
yeah.
from VP to AVP, and then I got moved out of that office completely. And it was just this whole frustration of and it was so frustrating because we're similar age. We
Mhm.
both have wives that are teachers. We both, like, I thought when we moved into this space that he saw my plan for career progression. He saw and it was very similar to his. He might have been intimidated by me more as I think about it. And that rather than finding a way to make it work, and or to constantly tell me, hey, here's where you need to improve, he just saved it as ammunition for how to basically cover his butt when things didn't go the way he wanted.
Okay, so it sounds like he was less of a leader and more of a competitor.
Yes,
Mm,
yes, it was in 100% that. And the fact that he did not ask when we would do my review, he would not ask what my goals were. He wouldn't tell me what his goals for me were. It was basically a formality. And I'm just looking at all these different pieces as a leader going, I should not be leading you. You should be leading me. You're the one that's getting the salary that's 4 times mine.
right.
And this is kind of ridiculous. I think it was one of those unfortunate pieces of like the Dilbert principle of the you promote someone from within to a field or to a level that their level of incompetence, quite honestly, because he's very good as a cheerleader for the president. So he could create dashboards, he could do all the reports, but he was a terrible leader.
Yeah.
And that office suffered as a result of it. We lost the junior analyst because while I got moved when I got moved out of my office, I was keeping my eyes open, and I noticed that she was not being included in future documentation about the future of the office. Like
Mm,
they would name all the other individuals and they wouldn't name her. And I kind of took her under my wing when she came on, even though she didn't directly report to me. So of course I was very involved of the just so you know, this is the language that your leader is basically saying to the senior leads, like and to the president and to the others. And because of that, I was like, and they would say, they would say one thing. I'm like, the writing's on the wall of this is how you present versus when she would do a project for me, I would celebrate her. I would say this was because of her. She took my idea, she brought it to life. Like I gave her the recognition she deserved, and he did not. And so through that, after about 4 months after I had left, after I got moved out of that office, she had left for a new position, and she couldn't be happier.
yeah. Yeah. So this is questions, comments, and rude remarks. So I'm gonna play the devil advocate in this situation.
Yep.
Is it plausible
Mm-hmm.
that the leader was not actually set up for success to be a leader to you?
I'm gonna say no because he came from the same He came from the president's university, prior university before they came together. Like they kind of came as a package. The president came, he brought this individual on, and he knew the chief of staff. Like they were all buddy from the beginning,
Okay.
and he had a similar role at his other institution, and so it was. I think it was one of those maybe in the sense of the didn't completely understand the dynamic and the culture of our university. I'll grant him that because it's been a very challenging university for especially in that capacity. And yeah, I think that's where I'd end with it.
Okay. So you're
Yep.
saying basically with the relationships that he came he came in with, that he should have been set up for success because of that. But,
Yes.
so I have this quiet beef with how leadership is being framed
Mm-hmm.
as a society, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times, leadership is expected to know, be, and do all of the things without being able to have any capacity for needing to learn in the process, right? And so this one of the things that we try to do in Mingle, right? Like the reason why we build Mingle as a learner leader space is because
Mm-hmm.
I strongly feel like it is hard to be a leader in the way that the way that leadership is being expected in the outside world.
Mm-hmm.
In that you can't say I don't know.
Sure.
You're expected to know. Uh, all the things and all the ways to actually be a leader
Mm-hmm.
on day one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's very little space for you to grow into leadership. And so, from some of the things that you were saying about what was happening with this guy, it sounds like he was like great at what he does, but he never got an opportunity to actually grow into being a leader, nor was he being coached on what it looks like to actually lead. Right?
That's fair. And I think part of the piece that would have really helped is if he would have allowed us to do 360 leadership. Because if that were the case, and if he would have been able to take feedback from us, I think, I mean, I was trying to give him as many olive branches as possible of the, like, hey, I'm setting up this meeting. I think we should meet because I think it's important. And never once did he go, hey, thanks for setting that up. I understand, and I'll make sure, like, this is important, and I'll take that for moving forward, versus a more of a perspective of a, okay, you want to meet, so let's meet. And it's a very different mentality.
Yeah.
And I've been in several different leadership roles. I've served as an academic advisor. I've been in several different research leadership roles, both while I was in grad school for different organizations and such. And so, and at the same time, those are still very different than leading a team of diverse individuals.
Yeah.
And with the same beat, one of the things that I know with myself is I know I've got blind spots. I am well aware I have blind spots.
Mm-hmm.
I can point them out at any time, and I will not get offended more than once.
Yeah.
I strive not to get offended, and that if I do, once I hear it, and if it makes logical sense, I will come back and say, you were right. I need to rethink this plan, or thank you providing me this new perspective I hadn't considered. Help me to figure out where you want to get to. And like, that's always been my MO, is I want to know where you want to go.
Yeah.
Whenever I interact with anyone, so that I can go once I know that, then just like anything else I do, I now know the system that we're operating under. I now know the resources we're operating under, and then I can help you to reach your outcome.
Yeah.
And when people don't necessarily have that, or they don't communicate that, it becomes very difficult to understand, okay, where are we at? How am I helping you? Or how am I hindering you? And like, that makes it even harder when people like say, well, you just need to learn how to manage up. I tried. And at the same time, it's like, when they're not communicating or they're withholding information, it's really difficult to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I say all the time is that, like, you can be a leader from anywhere, and a lot of it sounds like what you did is you tried to lead from behind, right? Like, obviously, this guy has some directives and goals that he needs to hit. You don't necessarily know what they are, but you know what your goals and what your needs are, and so you were essentially leading him from behind him instead of from the front. And really, that's all you can do, right? Like, you essentially did everything in your power in order to help him be successful. Ultimately, it's he has to turn around and look back and say, like, oh, thanks for leading me from behind. I appreciate that, right? Like, thanks for giving me those directives. And had he did that, it probably would have been a better experience. But I think a lot of the times, I think it comes from like this messaging of what leadership looks like. Like, most people think that leadership looks like, I'm standing in the front, I'm telling people what to do, and I'm walking ahead of them, and they're just gonna follow me. And the problem with that is it's really dysfunctional, right? Because in order to lead, you do have to look back and make sure that people are following you.
Yes. You go too far ahead, you become the enemy. Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're taking a long walk by yourself. Like
That part as well. Yeah, exactly.
there's no one following you, right?
Yep,
And
yep.
there is a reciprocal relationship with leadership, where in order to lead, you have to gauge kind of like the people that you are leading, but also, it's the people who are following have a responsibility to lead themselves and also to lead their leaders as well. And
Hmm.
so I think, the rude remark of all of this is that, like, honestly, if you feel like you're not being led well, it's probably because you're not leading yourself well. And I know that sounds really shitty, right? Like, what? I'm not being led well. Um, but if, like, in your story, you kind of said it. You were like, I tried to give him as um, many ways forward with me
Right,
as possible, right? So you did everything that you could do,
right.
but most people don't, right? Like, most people are like, well, you're the leader, you're supposed to have this stuff figured out,
Sure,
just do
sure.
it.
Yep, yep.
Just do it, right? Like, well, what's supposed to happen, just do it. And I think that also creates a really, um, dysfunctional environment for the leader to, um, be lean on the people that they're leading as well.
Yeah.
So there's that there kind of balance. Now, I know you have a particular product, that you would love to talk about, which is a calendar to cash. And I'm curious as to how does this product help a leader, whether you're leading yourself or
Mhm.
leading other people? How does that help you become a better leader?
So calendar to cash definitely helps you become a better leader because, like I said, it all comes back to the where do you want to get to, and then far too often when we are thinking about our business, we're not thinking about. It's very similar to so perfect example. It's very similar to if we were trying to lose weight. We can get our first bit. We can get our first step and what I do with my clients, and I help them to see, okay, how much are you bringing home per hour, and really thinking about that. But that's like stepping on the scale and going, wow, I weigh 225. That's really bad. I know what the impact of that is. You're feeling the same way, especially if you're in family, and like, I'm working these many hours, I'm bringing this little home, and it's costing me time with my kids. This sucks, but it doesn't necessarily make you go, I need to make the change,
Yeah.
versus going, okay, I recognize that. Now let's say, where can I get to? What's realistic? And so that's where the next piece fits in of the where do I want to get to? So when I work with my health coach, for example, she's like, where do you want to get? What's realistic for you in a year? I was like, I don't know. I've never really lost weight. She goes, let's start with 30 pounds. I was like, cool. Let's start there. Build me to that space. And once that happened, it's the same thing with our business of the, okay, I want to go from $9 bringing home $9 an hour to bringing home $35 an hour. Cool. Now we've got that established. What's in our way? What's available to us to be able to fix this system? Then that's when we look now at the calendar, because the calendar shows everything. It shows where you're spending your time, what you prioritize, and it also shows you realistically where do you have your space. And the piece I push back when people are like, well, you just need a time block and stuff, I'm like, no, because you can fill your calendar completely with junk. You can fill it completely with junk and just go, you're now just working on junk during your best mind space. Sure, that I guess that's effective. Not really. Versus the, okay, I now want to make it, I want to get to $30 an hour. Perfect. Let's look back now at your calendar and say, what is going to make you money in the next 30 days? How many hours a week are you putting in toward that? How many hours a week are you putting in toward building out your network, getting on podcasts, making others know who you are and what you do and why they should trust you? And then what are you doing with the rest of your week? Because far too often, as you know, Monica, too many people are spending way too much time doing things that are not getting them money, are not getting them well known, and they just feel good. There's that dopamine effect. It feels great. to clean up to clean out your inbox. It feels great to say, hey, I have changed my title once again, so I'm a little bit clearer, so people can hear me a little bit better. It feels great to update that LinkedIn profile or play around with that AI tool that you didn't, just because someone's like, you should come try this out, but you didn't have a plan. You didn't see how taking the time working with this is going to get you to anything of getting people to know, like, and trust you, or how it's going to make you money in the next 30 days. And so you're just playing around, you're getting that dopamine effect, and you look up and it's already 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And you go, where did my day go?
One of the first conversations that I have with anyone is, there's two conversations when people come in to mingle. The first conversation is, how are you spending your time? The second conversation is, how are you spending your money? Because both of those, right, are the resources that we're essentially fighting with all the time. Now, what I will say is, time is the only non-renewable resource. So it's more valuable and more precious than money is.
Yes.
And so this is why, Brad, when we met in person at Colleen's Immersive, I was like, oh, we are going to geek out on calendars. because to me, like, so like, even when we have like spiritual conversations about sacred space, I immediately go to my calendar. My calendar is my sacred space. It's where I create a altar of time for whatever I deem most important and most valuable to me. And I want to live my time in joy, right? And so as much joy as I can gets shoved into my calendar. What's interesting, although I am a person who is high functioning, and I get a lot done, I actually spend substantially less time working than most people do. And I watch substantially way more TV, honestly, than everybody else does. Because I'm an empty nester and I don't have a child to worry about, but also because I enjoy stories and I make time for it. But one of the things that you were saying a second ago was using your time when your brain is most productive, right? Using that right there, if anybody is listening right now, is the key to actually finding real value in your the amount of time that you're working. Is you are actually scheduling time to work when your brain is most productive, then you actually need substantially less time on your calendar to work. And I have just happened to perfect that for myself. So most of my actual pushing things forward and making things happen before most people are even awake.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you point that out, because you're right. That kind of fine-tuned tweaking, once you get to the space of saying, okay, about 40% of my time is making me money, 30% of my time is getting me into people know, like, and trust me, and then I've got 30% that's 30% to do all the other things I want to do, or I could offload them onto a VA. So long as, if I take that time that I offload to the VA and then I put it back into either what I call zone one, the things that are going to make you money in the next 30 days, or things that really make you like and trust in zone two. That way you're not feeling like I'm paying someone to take on things that were already draining me, and then I fill it back up with other things that are draining me. That's like taking on a credit card and doing a balance transfer and then putting debt on both. And so that's where, once you've had that space, then 100%, I mean, once you're ready and you're like, okay, I've blocked that out of this is the amount of time, then what part during the day I totally agree with.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting is, a lot of times most entrepreneurs, they think the time that they're spending behind their computer is actually the most valuable time, and it's getting them the most thing. But the truth of the matter is, the most valuable time in your life, period, is the time that you spend developing relationships, period. Right? So the time that you spend, like, untethered time that you spend with people, right, where there is no agenda, where you're not pushing one way or the other, where you're just connecting and getting like locked into who each of you are is actually the most valuable time spent in anything, because that is the time in which you are actually selling everybody on the concept of whatever it is you're trying to sell, including your children, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you spent 15 minutes playing with your kids, it's a lot easier to get them spending 15 minutes at cleaning up,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yep.
But if you spend 2 minutes talking to your kid and you ask them to clean up for 15 minutes, they're going to play for 15 minutes, right?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting perspective. It's the whole concept of the banquet draw, and I thought about that from a parental perspective. I hadn't thought of it until just now from a customer client perspective as well.
Right.
You're giving, and then now you're like, hey, I've got this upcoming talk, or hey, I'm asking you to give me of your time, or I'm asking you to give me of your resources so I can turn that back around. If you've already been giving out enough that they're already creating that value, then it's like, yeah, it's easy versus
yes,
you're trying to do a withdrawal. I don't have enough in me right now to counterbalance that with.
exactly. So like when I have my sales calls, for instance, which I try to do those as group experiences, because if nothing else, they're networking.
Mm-hmm.
The I schedule it for an hour for multiple people, right? So I'm like scaling my time.
Mm-hmm.
And in that hour with those multiple people, 85% of the time is spent vibe checking,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just them getting to know me and me
Yep.
getting to know them, and finding out what makes them tick, and like why they want to pretty up the world, and like where they are in the world, like just
Mm-hmm.
actual hanging out, right?
Mm-hmm.
The last maybe 20 minutes of the call is actually us deciding whether or not what I'm doing is actually going to best benefit them.
Right.
And then them deciding whether or not they want to move forward with the next steps and taking those first steps in that same call. So, in a world in which everyone is so sick of being sold something, because
Yes.
most people do their sales call in reverse,
Yep.
right? Where let me sell you this thing, and then once you say yes, then I will get to know you better.
Yep.
I
Yep.
actually reversed the process, and I hang out and figure out like, hey, do I even like you? Do
Yeah.
you even like me?
Yep.
Do we even have the goals that are similar to each other before we actually take these next steps forward? And the thing that works is I tell them at any time, you know what? If you think I'm full of shit, or if you're like, yeah, this isn't for me, at any point you can opt out. I'm completely okay with you being like, Monica, you're weird and I'm out, right? And giving them that permission to actually like
Sure.
truly have an opinion, right? And if we can like take that concept of
Yeah.
whatever it is, right? Because every relationship we're actually selling, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're selling to your kids.
Yep.
Whatever nonsense or foolery that they want to get into is not as important as the very important thing that you're trying to get to. Right? You're selling to your wife, right? Like that you're there to support, or that you need support, right?
Right.
You're selling to your parents the same concept, right? I need support, or I need you to give me support. You're to your friends, I need some time with you, or or I might have time that you need from me, right? Like we're always selling a aspect of our relationships.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of us realizing that sometimes we have to actually do a vibe check first before we ask.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting perspective, because it's like the person that you barely talk to, they're not going to help you move. And at the same time it's like that whole thing they used to say about, in the multi-level marketing of the go find the people that you love, and you're just like, nope, I am not going to talk to those individuals, because that it's going to damage that relationship, and or I don't already have that great a relationship with this individual. And if I just pop to them and be like, hey, I heard about this new offer that I think would be great, be like, you don't know what I'm doing. You don't know who I am or what's going on. Like, Yeah,
Right.
we were friends back in high school, but you haven't talked to me in 15 years. Don't try and just come back in and come in, or worse, try and make small talk when really what you really want is to get my attention. It's like you can be detected
Right.
a mile away, based on the language of the I can tell you don't really care. You're just trying to either get through a script or get me to a point of being familiar with you again.
Yes. The rude remark. Guys, stop that shit. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, stop with the sales scripts, right? Like we're beyond the point in which we are interested in any more tomfoolery being thrown at us, especially in this is the way that the society is now. Rude remark. Stop it.
Yep. Yep. I mean, I have a script, but I have a script so it keeps me on track. That's where my piece is, because when I reflect back and it's like, oh, it could have been a lot clearer if I made sure I include this piece or include this question, which is just good for me to have just to move forward. Because again, through each comment, I'm constantly trying to figure out of the all right, how can, just like a doctor of the you're I'm asking questions, I'm trying to diagnose and try to get a better sense of the what's really going on, because no one wants to admit I'm making bad decisions. No
Yeah.
one wants to admit I'm overwhelmed. No one wants to admit and say that my income's not matching my effort. Like those are very personal things that people need to be able to say, versus the I need a marketer, I need a VA, I need to get on podcasts, I need leads. Like those are very, very different. And so when that happens, it's the I've got to show you through my personal stories, through my personal actions, this is why this matters to me, and I'm on your side
Yeah.
now. And just like the person who became my health coach of the what's going to happen if you don't make change, I've revealed this reality to you. Now you've got to make your decision of, is this painful enough that you want to fix it, or what are you going to do differently if you're not working with me? Because if you haven't seen this kind of piece before, like even today, I was talking with an individual and they were like, your eyes are going all over the place. I'm like, yeah, well, that's a defense mechanism because I'm neurodiverse. Or like, it also means when people are talking with you that it's hard for them to trust you because you're shady.
Yeah.
And then you give that perception of shadiness. So it's the being aware of your blind spot. But now that it's then said, now I can't unsee it. And now I will have that for moving forward. And
Yeah.
so, and as soon as she said that, like, I'm like, okay, you're not afraid to say the thing that's hard. You've already went past the piece, because we can't fix what we don't know.
Right.
And it's we're all in it for the greater good. I'm not here to take advantage of you. I'm here because your family matters to me and I don't even know you. Your
Right.
kids matter to me and I don't even know you, because I know from my own personal experience how much those relationships were, the challenges of keeping the relationships that I had and still have, and the shortcomings that came about because my dad worked extra hours all the time, because
Yeah.
so that I could go to school, because I constantly felt like I was walking on eggshells in the room because he was working all the time and he demanded respect, because I heard all of the financial fights back and forth between him and my mom about not having enough money and her constantly spending and putting in secret accounts, and that, like, those are my stories that I share, because when I do that, then you realize, look, I am just like you. I am one step on this bridge. I am not on a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a guru that's coming down. I am a fellow parent that is trying to build out my business so I can get 2 engineers to go to college without feeling like they have to and without me having to put in the same amount of effort and sacrifice that my father had to do for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, our time is almost up here, but so there's a few things that you hit on that was like dead on, right? And one of them is raw authenticity, right? Like in order to be great at what you do and and really to be great at building relationships, you have to show up in who you really are. So, um, saying the rude things, just saying it out loud and being like, hey, I'm not shifty. I'm neurodivergent. And that's just one of the things that I have to deal with, gives everybody an opportunity to understand where you're coming from in a way that now it's like, oh, okay, well, now that I have that as your truth, I know how to move forward with you with
Exactly.
that.
Yep.
Right. It's the unknown that people are usually kind of fearful of. And it's also I always say to anyone who doesn't believe in like being super truthful, it's never the crime, it's always the cover up, right? And so if you actually just say the thing in plain English, people can deal, right?
Yep.
And they can handle that. And that really comes to you doing the number one basic right of personal growth, which is owning your life. And when you take ownership of who you are, your decisions, and how you show up in the world, then it makes it a lot easier for everyone around you to actually build strong, authentic relationship with you, and for you to be able to spend your time more in joy than in discomfort. With that said, we have to wrap this up. Brad, where can people find you? How can they follow you? How can they be connected to you?
Absolutely. So, two things. One, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me at Brad Coverdale over on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook, Calendar to Cash. And the last piece is something new that I've just recently created that I'm gifting to everyone in Mingle and everyone that's listening, actually, is we talked about things to stop and things to start as our way to get moving. I am personalizing reports for everyone. It's called a Stop Doing, Start Earning report. So it's at calendar, number 2, cash.com/stop. Use the coupon code Monica,
Hey.
and that will allow you to get that report for free. It's a $47 value. Yes, you are my coupon code, right? And then when you fill out a few questions, I will send you a personalized report of 3 things you need to stop doing, 1 thing you can start doing, and showing you how we can continue working together.
It sounds fantastic. I love Stop, Start, Continue. So love this framework. So excited. And if any of you are interested in hanging out with me and other cool people like Brad as a part of the Mingo Learning Collaborative, know that us crazy people hang out 3 times a week. That's right. We hang out on Tuesdays, we hang out on Wednesdays, and we hang out on Thursdays. And you are more than welcome to join us. All you have to do is go to minglecollaborative.com/mingle and chat and sign up for one of our Mingle and chats. It's not the crazy networking. There are no card dealers there. It's just real people getting to know real people in real time. It's all about us really connecting with first, human to human first. And if there's something to sell, we'll get to it. But at the moment, we're just really trying to connect people and get them connected in. So come socialize with us, come mingle with us. And thank you so much, Brad, for coming on and hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you hanging out loud with the rest of the world. And again, him and I are going to continue to geek out on calendars. But until next time, we will see you all. Thanks for seeing us. We'll talk to you later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.